Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is going to be a general reading for the beginning of the year of 2019. It can be just January. It can be very much the energy of the January eclipses. And it may end up being the first few months. Time runs differently for different people. So take it as you will. My intention is to read for the beginning energies of this year. That is what I am called to do, inspired, motivated. So that's what I'm bringing forth. So as we begin, relax. Pretend that you were the most not relaxed right now. And if that were the case, on a spectrum of 1 to really not, or really tense, 1 to really tense, whatever you're at right now, pretend that is what really tense is. And then breathe. And with every breath, feel that tension easing. Hardness softening. Harsh becoming breezy. At least as important as to what the content of anything you're listening to is how you are when you're listening. And I really enjoy listening to other people's interpretations and readings of the energies, especially in times past. So I get it. Just kind of wanting to hear and being like, yeah, that's me. So do that. Like, read, enjoy, have fun. It's all like entertainment. But the yeah, that's me. Like, relax. So you can be the me that listens. And I'll probably talk more about that as we go. Thank you for joining me. This year's going to be really potent for a lot of people. And I say that because it's going to be potent for everyone, but not everyone's going to notice. And potency is like alcohol percentage. This year ain't gonna be non-alcoholic beer. It's gonna be that moonshine shit. Because you're that moonshine shit. 2018, 2017, 2016, the last 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, 50. Has been building up. And 2019 for a lot of people is going to feel like popping off. like champagne, if we're staying with the theme. And yet, there will be so much more to celebrate. But the celebrations can begin. Victory. And surprise and magic. And not even like beyond your expectations. It's like the parable of the three fish, the three fish eye. Two young fish chilling, relaxing, acting all cool, are hanging out, and they're just talking. And then this other fish kind of gingerly floats by. Older fish. Then he's like, top of the morning. How's the water today? I guess implying that the water's temperate. And the two younger fish, they're like young, whatever young is to the old. They kind of look at the older one askance. And then as the older fish kind of walks by, the two young ones, one of them looks at the other and is like, first of all, who says top of the morning? And then, what do you say it? How's the water today? Find water around today? What's water? I feel like very much this year is going to be a what's water kind of year for all of us. Even those of us that have been experiencing fucking water as far as they knew and thought, and are surprised and couldn't even imagine. There's more water yet to come. I read cards, much like everyone else who kind of reads cards and is any good. They figure out their own meaning. And archetypes will make sense to them. So, 3 cards. I also don't read reversals. I used to not, and then I started, and then I don't anymore. Mostly because I can't be fucked. It's like there's too much to fucking figure out and interpret. Like, what does it mean? What's spirit trying to tell me? Anyways, for me. So I'm like, fuck it. Just everything's not reversed. And then if it has like a reverse meaning, I'm gonna interpret that based on context. So these are the first 3 cards that popped out. It's the 4 pence, the chariot, and the lovers. And then the bottom of the deck is the 5 of cups. I actually really like all these cards. First thing that pops up to me are the numbers. The numbers are significant. 7 and 4 is 11. 7 and 6 is 13. The 5 of cups, the 4 pence, the 5 and 4, that's 9. and 9 and 13 are 22. So there's just a lot of powerful. Those are all powerful, really powerful numbers. Every number is powerful. But those numbers stand out to me. 11, master number. 22, master number. 9, the number of completion and conception, like just before rebirth. Ripe. But anyways, okay. The general energy for the beginning of the year is about movement forward, about overcoming obstacles to connection. It's not about there's a challenge yet in connecting. The Chariot is the Prince, Queen, Star, charioteer with the reins of the Sphinx, and at ease, at rest. The effort is minimal, but in movement and motion, there's much effort. But the effort isn't physical. It is effort of will. See, what stands out to me is in the charioteer's hands are not reins. Upon the Sphinx are no yokes, no collars. Wings adorn the front of the chariot, and stars the awning. This implies to me that this is a chariot that flies. And that the wheels turn, and the chariot is led more by an act of will, by conjoined will, by focused will. It's not so much two wills that are one. It's more like the union of two wills that agree, so that neither is lost in each other, but in joining, they retain themselves and become something else too. If you'll see, the Sphinx are like the yin-yang symbols in that they very appropriately reflect each other as the kind of the color arrangement, and then the charioteer. If you'll see, he also I'm not very good with this camera card angle. He also has, or she, Shem, also has. Actually, I gotta talk into the mic. I'm confident that it doesn't really hear my voice when I'm not speaking directly into it, but it's got black and white too. Like there's a lot of kind of balance as far as the colors are concerned. Also, the thing that really stands out to me that I want to point out, I read cards, but depending on what stands out most, is if you'll see the one wheel, it seems like it is attached. Like there's just one wheel with the wheel in the yellow, like it's attached to the chariot through the yellow. And then, if you look at the other wheel, at that same juncture, you see the forest beyond it. Right, forest beyond it, and then yellow. So that tells me that first of all, the wheels are not maybe what they seem. They may not be wheels at all. You'll see here on this side, the yellow goes all the way to like the, what's it called? Like the stalks, the stockades or whatever. The word escapes me, but it goes all the way to like the or what it seems to be the crest line of the castle. But on this side it doesn't. So continuing the energy through the beginning of the year is things not appearing quite as they seem. And then I feel inspired to continue with seeing things in such a manner that it serves you. It's like the combination of what you think you see, what you could see, to make and create what you want to see, and thus do. Also, and I'll kind of move on from this the last thing that I want to share with this card that's standing out most is in mine is depth. This is very important when it comes to the shifting and broadening our frequency of perception. We think we live in 3D, and yet when you use your eyes, you take 3D for granted. you take depth for granted. How close a thing is and how far away it is truly lost on common perception. For example, 3D movies. What the fuck are 3D movies? You put these glasses on, yeah? And do you remember when 3D movies were like one glass was blue and one glass was red, and somehow when the blue and the red combined and the blue and the red were phased out or whatever with the movies, that created a 3D perception? Isn't there fucking red and blue shifted light like in our very eyes now? And yet when we look through the 3D glasses at the 3D movie, we see in a third dimension 3D that certainly doesn't look like 3D when we're just looking around at us. So we think we see deeply into things. We think we listen deeply. We think we live deeply, and yet we are standing on the fucking water. What I mean here, and I'll kind of shift here a little bit because I do want to show you a little bit. All right, so let's check this guy out. Looks like he's in a little chariot. These two guys right in front of him. All right. Now, how long is the chariot? It's like this long? Like is this? Look at the stars behind him. Her, Shem, him, her, him. Harem. It looks like it might be right behind them. That, in fact, that's a 3D way we look at it, right? I mean, it's a card. How are you supposed to look at the card in 3D? What's like depth? Can you now see? And there's like the little black kind of near the crown, showing that's like the ceiling, like a view of a box. I want you right now to look at the awning to the top here, and instead of making it a cube, make it a rectangle. Make what's behind him much further back. You can, can't you? The chariot, where the wheels supposedly connect to the base, make that further back. The wings and the little emblem on the front. Imagine that it's on a pole, and the pole is dead on to the camera, so it's going straight forward, but it only appears that it's directly on it. It's actually 3-4 feet in front, and the sphinxes are actually only this big. They're really tiny, but they're really close to the camera, or to the artist. So these little tiny sphinxes, sphinx eye, pull this massive chariot. And the wheels. What do you see when you look at the wheels? That isn't a skill testing question. I'm just saying, like, now you do it. So that's the lesson of the chariot. Connected to that, in the energy of connection and union. Okay, I wonder if you can see this. This sort of reminds me of, can you see a shadow? Yeah, see a shadow. Okay. I can see the shadow. I don't need to look at it. Okay, see the shadow? Right? Now, as the shadows, you can kind of see it, right? Anyways, as the shadows get closer together, they kind of get darker as they touch, as they get close. But like you see, my hands aren't on top of each other, but as the shadows get closer to each other, they almost melt into each other. Now, that is a trick of light that I will explain in other videos. I might actually make another channel and keep this one a little bit more personal, a little bit me, Elliot, and the other one a little bit more the world and social and break your mind, so you can remake it. It's a little sciencey or whatever, but it's like, as the two reach towards each other, they don't have to touch they don't have to touch to focus on, to become one, right? Again, speaking more still with light, polarized glasses or LCD screens, or really most screens. I think liquid crystal display screens. Yeah, LCD screens. Or I was thinking LED screens. I think do the same. Do they? No, I think it's more the LCD screens. They work on the basis of light polarization. So they turn this light on, it's on all the time, and then they put one screen on, very thin layer, polarized layer, that work much like your glasses, like your sunglasses. And what it's doing is that it's polarizing the light. It's making the light cohesive instead of scattered. And I'm super generalizing because it's actually fascinating and fucked up. What I mean is, if you can, don't wear sunglasses. You don't have to. Don't wear sunglasses. But basically, the way these LCD screens work is there's a layer, and it'll like block some of the light. And then if you put another layer, vertical layer, horizontal layer, and you put it on top of each other, no light will pass through. But then if you put another layer in between them at an angle, at 45-degree angle, right? That part in the middle, that all three, the light has to pass through all three, light will pass through all the way through. And why that is because basically when light passes through the first one, it goes sideways. It has to go, like the sideways is blocked, it has to go vertical. When you put another one on top of it, you're blocking out the vertical. So the vertical and the sideways, they're now all blocked out. But when you put the middle one in between that's on an angle, basically the light goes through the horizontal one and has to go up. So it goes into the 45-degree angle one, and it basically turns it into a spiral, because it's like, well, I'm passing through this, I want to go up, but now I can go sideways a little bit. So then the light hits, and then it goes up, and then it hits this guy, and then it goes, and now it has to go either anyways, I think I make my point, right? Like it spirals, so by putting the kind of the piece in between, it gives light options to pass through. and the masculine and the feminine, like gender, polar energies, because everything is polarized. Dualism is an illusion. But masculine and feminine, let's say one's, one's vertical, the other's horizontal, together, they cancel each other out, and light doesn't come through. But if we recognize that there's something in the middle, there's something that is always a part of us too, then that something in the middle not only lets the light pass through, but it lets the light pass through each of us, so we share the light. Now the light is both of us. But if we don't perceive the middle, then we don't see the light that passes through both of us and becomes us both. And then the energy at the beginning of the year is recognizing that dualism is the illusion that creates duality. It creates duels. It creates fighting between two. The best way to deceive is to take something and lie about it. But don't change the thing. Right? It's like, say I know this, I know this room, right? I know this painting behind me. It's my living room. But let's pretend that you and I come into this room, and you think I'm coming into the room for the first time. So you don't know that I don't know that I know this room. And I wear glasses as well. I'm not wearing them right now. But you've seen me wear glasses. So I'm going to tell you, I don't need glasses anymore. You're like, bullshit. I don't wear glasses anymore. I don't need them anymore. My eyesight's now perfect. Like, fuck off. All right, fine. Now, if your eyesight's perfect now, what's that across the room? What's that right there? And I'm like, what? The red candle? Or the picture with the silver frame and the two boys and the girl, with the boy wearing a striped shirt in the middle, and the girl has long curly blonde hair with just a piece wrapped over her ear. And you're like, oh shit, damn, I guess you can see. And maybe you throw me another test. Or maybe I'm just saying, like, fuck it. You don't have to test me. I proved it once. Fuck off. I can see. But that's bullshit. I can't see shit. I just know the room. You just think I don't know the room. That's the lie. In that way, everything in the universe, in this dimension of perception, and I believe, in my experience and my studies, it may be all dimensions. It may only be the non-dimension, the non-being, in which polarity no longer exists. But in everything else, there's polarity. To have a thing, you must also have its opposite. Because the opposite becomes real. It must exist in relation to the other. There would be no man and woman if we were all just woman. If we were all just man. We would just be whatever the word is we use for what we are. Right? There is no hot if there is no cold. One person's hot is another person's cold. And the lie is that that's dualistic. There is no good. There is no good without bad. And thinking in those terms is not dualistic. But if I tell you it's a dualistic, if I tell you that is separation, and you believe me about other shit, and you're like, oh, that's duality. When truly, everything is polar. Everything that's polar is the same and different only in degree. This is in line with like Hermetic philosophy. The Kabbalion? Kabbalion. Read that word very many times, but I've not said it out loud very much. So you and I are the same. And we differ only by degree. Good and bad are a measure of the same thing. And that it differs only to the degree with which we perceive good and bad. Right and wrong. Of course there's wrong. Whatever we think is wrong. But only in comparison to what we think is right. And we can't condemn what is wrong as being an evil in and of itself if we don't also condemn the right. For example, let's think of someone that does a really heinous act, like rape and murder. I don't mean like that. It's two different things. Like they rape and then they murder. That's fucking heinous. That's wrong. That's fucking wrong. Right? But I can only condemn that as a wrong act in as much as I recognize what's right about that environment. And we live in a society that rapes and murders us every day. With our jobs, with our rights, our livelihood, our repression, our punishment, making what we do crimes? I am most certainly not condoning rape and murder. In fact, I'll be the first one to murder someone that rapes and murders. But I'd only be the first one should I deem it wrong and evil in my estimation. And not all rapes and murders are equal. I am leaving this line of thinking, but you get my drift, I hope, in that what we're going to start perceiving is union, oneness, by recognizing symmetry. Better by recognizing like asymmetric fractality, where things are similar and fit together like puzzle pieces in the clay, but are not the same. Not exactly. They're two sides of the same coin. Speaking of coins, 4 of Pentacles. Again, what really stands out is things just not appearing or not being what they first appear to be at first glance. Four for me is the first number of stagnation. It's a kind of stability, but if you rest there, you suffer. It's a temporary stability. The first stability is truly 3. In this dimension. And so in this dimension, once you get to 4, there's a kind of stable, but it's almost like 1 again. You're 1 and then you're lonely, so you become 2. 2 begets 3 because 1 and 1 makes something new. And then 4 almost comes from a result of all that you've learned. But what you've learned is that there's so much more. So the beginning of the year, I believe might be not so much receiving what you deserve, although that's what the Chariot and the Lovers cards really kind of speak to me about kind of like a coming together, things finally making it and making sense, and like a receiving. a receiving by moving, a receiving by coming together. So it's not like, it's not so much sitting on your pedestal, and like counting your coins or whatnot. But what this card is really speaking to me about is actually more about almost like looking at the past, and the beginning of the year is looking back, looking at life now, and I don't want to cliche this motherfucker and be like, looking at your life now and being grateful for all that you have, but it's truly like seeing magic where there was no magic. It's like arriving at this new point of stability, at this new juncture, this new point in your adventure, that where we are realizing that, we were stable. We thought we weren't stable, but we were. And now we're ready for more. Because the stability that we had is not going anywhere. Let's go back to the perception, the depth of perception thing, all right? So standing on the 2 coins, you've got, now, like, it's what you've manifest have become your feet. The one, this can be sometimes perceived as being like gripped tightly, but it's really framing the heart. It's like, check out my heart chakra, It's like the stability, 3. And then the one above the crown, if you look closely, you can't say certainly or not that star is indeed on the crown. What if that's a star in the sky? What if that's a huge, massive star behind him? This is now the star we shoot for. Because what we have, we will never lose again. We can never lose. What you know now can never be forgotten. What you know now can only be forgiven. And then I don't read the bottom of the deck so much as far as like we have so far, but what I will offer is that what I will offer is an interesting observation that I've made about the cups in general. If you look at the cups in every card, the cups are empty. The cups are not what they seem. The only cups that have anything in them is the 7 of Cups. Now, that's interesting. I'll speak to that before. I'm going to do one more pull and then we're done. It looks like, 2 cups and then 3 cups spilled, yeah? Well, 2 of the cups spilled something red and 1 of the cups spilled something green? What the fuck is green? Maybe the goal is to turn the cups over. This card is often looked to as like a card of grief, of not seeing what you have in something. I call bullshit. The tarot is like an arcane spell book. And when I look at this card in this reading, I see someone that is seeing truly. And this person does something about it. Because 5 for me is a number of balance, of balancing creation. And then underneath that was the Page of Wands, and that always represents Sagittarius to me. And it's like Sagittarius is looking, and Jupiter is like looking towards all this. It's like looking towards this, is moving all this towards this. Page of Wands is like the beginnings of invention. It's creating new things in the physical. Not so much like the coins of the Pentacles, where things are manifest. That's like creating things that you know can exist. This is more like creating new things that you didn't know was possible. It's the combination of things. It's ideas and new technology, new possibility. The wands, you know, when I think of a wand, I think of a little thing, yeah? But the wands in the deck are always represented by these massive sticks. And I think part of the lesson of the wands in the tarot is that the wands, they stand taller than the people. It's like with your fire energy, you can see beyond yourself. So that's the general energy, I believe, for the beginning of the year. Now, important considerations, obstacles, the hard parts. I love it when this happens, when a card flips over and then stays in like the shuffled cards. It's the best. Especially when that card's the death card. Whew, this is good. This is good. Good by interesting. I don't know, fucking good. It's always good. Alright, so we've got death card that flipped over and stayed in there because, you know, rebirth. King of Wands was the card that flew out. And then these cards came out together. The Ten of Swords, the King of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands, the Page of Swords, and the Hermit. So that which needs to be overcome are overcome the obstacles, the challenges, because what the fuck are obstacles? Whenever I read obstacles or I think of obstacles, I look back, it's like, it's not the things that stop you, because nothing can stop you. Nothing stops you. Even death is another beginning. So it's not useful to look at the things that stop you, because then you're looking for something to stop you. No. What are the challenges that when you perceive them, you can be like, oh, I remember reading for myself, or because you're reading for yourself. I'm doing the pulling. I'm telling you my intuition, my channels, but you are reading yourself in your life. But you can come back and be like, oh yeah, I remember that the challenges would be, these are the occasions that we rise to. And what certainly, stands out for me, obviously at first, was the death card, which, quite simply, going back to the rebirth, it's what's the obstacle? Can you die? Can you die? Can you let the devils lie? Can you bury, right? Can you bury what you've been carrying with you, right? Can you bury what's? Can you let your death be? To learn something new, you have to kill what you didn't know before. So, say you didn't know anything. You learn something new about something you didn't know. What has to die is that the recognition that you didn't know shit about that thing. Now that can happen very unconsciously, and then when it happens consciously, most people just refuse to reconcile the new thing that they learn, because not knowing a thing, then it's just like, well, that thing doesn't exist. Well, fuck you and your closed senses. So can you let what you used to know move on to a better place? Because the obstacles here, are rising to the occasion of mastering your passions, your inventiveness, your ambitions, the fire that burns in your soul, as well as your ability to manifest your abundance of self, the kind of gregarious soul. For me, these are my two favorite kings. I don't know, I just think they're kind of badass. The King of Pentacles always represents Gemini for me, and the King of Wands always represents in relation to zodiac, it represents for me Leo energy. But for me, the way that I read it more represents dragon energy. And so can we rise, can we be can we rise to the responsibility, the stewardship, because that's what's also lost through all the lies and bullshit, is the regality of kingship, of royalty. We've been manipulated to perceive royalty as an artifact of the elite, of powerful people manipulating lesser, when really, anciently, the kings and queens, they they're the intermediaries between the people and the gods. They wore the mantles, the crowns of responsibility for all the people. The people, the world, the planet, their kingdom. This is what they're stewards of. Its happiness, its contentment, its success, its well-being is what they place upon them, higher than themselves. It's like divinity and the kingdom. Held upon the shoulders, and lower than the shoulders is the king and the queen, is the royalty, is the royal family. And we're all kings and we're all royalty by birthright. Can we rise to that occasion? The Ten of Wands right now, it's speaking to me like it's telling me about can we go with the momentum? Can we hang on to all that we've gathered, to all that to all the work, all the energy that we've put into what we really want? Well, now it's here, it's coming, it's right at our feet, and where we're going, where it's taking us, we might not be able to see because we're looking right down, all we're seeing is what we've done. And I don't know, it kind of looks vortex-like or toroidal. And just, it's interesting, like, do you carry shit like that? I'm come from teaching yoga, fitness training. I've always been fascinated by, the condition of humanity. And that's not how you carry shit. First of all, like, one arm, it's just a weird way to hold things, right? It's like the person's really just holding it like that, like looking straight down at where it meets. It's just weird. And then look at his legs, like they're straight. So you're straight-legged holding a bunch of shit that, like, those motherfuckers don't look tied together, out in front of your center of gravity. The only time that's happening is when you're pushing against a force. Like, I might walk like that if I was pushing against a wall. Or if I was trying to move forward and it was trying to lift me up, And so it's moving me forward, but it also wants to take me off the ground. Can you keep your feet on the ground while you move forward? And he's looking down, because if he looks up, if he looks at anywhere else, those poles, those wands, they might shift around. And then the pattern, the stable structure, that which enables the movement, might fall apart. So can you keep your eye on the prize? Keep the eye on what you know. Focus on your karma and not on the consequences. Right? Because this motherfucker can't see through the wood. So you're not quite sure where you're going, but you can see what you're doing. And when you walk like that, you can see where your feet are going to land. So you're one step in front of the other. I'm looking at the Ten of Swords. And what this speaks to me is, just like the last cards was kind of like keep your feet on the ground, and then if we go back to the Four of Pentacles, it's like notice and like really being secure in your manifestation. This kind of speaks to me more like the 10, the completion. Can you become one with the ether? Right. If you look at the dude or dudette or whoever's laying on the ground, the ground and the breastplate, the body, whatever, they're the same color. The head. It's so really mysterious. It's really not clear. But if you look at it quickly, you might think you know what it's doing. If I do that, maybe. But like, can you dissolve? And then this speaks to me about dissolution and becoming one with a clarity of thought. Because like, turn the red into a mountain range. Or the tide over a sandbank. And the black in these cards always strike me as very interesting because there's not a lot of black in the tarot. And yet, actually, there's not a lot of black in the tarot, and we've pulled most of the black in the tarot. So the Ten of Swords, black. Five of Cups, black. Four of Pentacles, black. Death card, black. Chariot, black. King's Throne, black. Dragon's black. Now there's the Nine of Swords, black. The Devil, black. Very little bit on the Four of Swords, black. Like, I don't mean the lines on things, but if you look, there's not a lot of black. Hardly any, and there's tons of the black here. And what the black represents to me is chaos. And the greatest misconception about chaos and darkness is that it's the opposite, is that it's separate from order. When chaos and order are the same fucking thing, they're just polars towards chaos, towards more random seemingness, towards or versus like high order. And I don't mean like in dimension, I mean like just like the most ordered. In fact, I dare say that the most ordered would be the lowest dimension. Very, 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 very structured. So the beginning of the year brings with it a new recognition, but also the challenge of recognizing that darkness and light are degrees of the same thing. And the false light is the war against the darkness. the Hermit. The Hermit is wearing fucking gray in your face. You know? The white hair. Of wisdom. Or just white reflects light. I think only 2 cards represent winter at all, and that's the Hermit and the 5 of Pentacles. Right, because he's kind of standing like on a snowy mountaintop. But if you look, like where's winter? Not a lot of winter. You know? And for me, the Hermit 9, shining light upon. And he's got a wand in his hand. And the wand is not higher than him. The highest point on the picture is the cone of his hooded cloak, and it's pretty much in line with the wand of light, as the star and the light are the same color. And if you see there, I'll just put it a little closer so you can see, that is not a fucking light bulb, but that's a star. So, can we, with responsibility, produce our birthrights, our star power? Can we shine the light on the black and white? Right? Not a lot of black. And then the bottom of the deck. Oh, sorry. One more thing. Page of Swords. Page of Swords. All the court cards represent the zodiac for me. The Page of Swords always represents Taurus for me. And the swords have the quality of air. But air and earth, like water and fire, universal water, universal fire, there's like a fluidity that they share, where a thing can be all water, a thing can be all fire, but the fire, and because the qualities are so mixed, like, you know, fire can be so hot it's hard, water can freeze, you know, for you something can be so cold it's hot. You know, fire, this light. Anyways, or it's just like when you combine things with fire, they disappear, or the fire disappears. But the air and the earth, you can't just have all air or all earth, otherwise there's nothing else, you know? So, like, if everything was all air, where the fuck is anything else? If everything was all earth, well, what's breathing? What's moving? You know? If everything was already made, what would you think? If all you did was think, what the fuck would you make? What are you thinking about? And so with the chord cards, there's like, with the earth and air, there's just a little bit of mingling. And it's funny, actually, this is really the only places that it mingles. For me, the Page of Pentacles is Capricorn. The Queen of Pentacles is I want to say Aquarius, which makes, the Page of Swords, Taurus, the Queen of Swords, Virgo, and the King of Swords, Libra. Anyways, a little tangent. The challenge is like we're kinging our passions and our magicality, our creating. Like these, like with these, we're at the top of the mound here, but with the Page of Swords, can we start to tell the truth? Can we start to fight back? Of all the basically of all the cards, the Page of Swords and like the Knight of Swords are the only two that I really want to fight. And the Knight is moving towards, and the Page is like, come get some. Because the Page of Swords is standing is standing in contest. It's like, top of this fucking hill. Here I am. Here's my truth. Try me. Fucking try me. And that's the bull for me. Right? Like, what air signs that way? None. Right? Gemini is like, he'll fucking tell you. No problem, no sweat. He'll fucking tell you. And he the sharp tongue. Right? Libra won't tell you, but they'll think so. And Virgo will just act. And Libra won't tell you, will think so, and they'll try to get along. Like, we'll try and tell you, Libra's not the one that stands their ground, basically, in that way. Virgo will, but they'll basically do it by ignoring you and pretending you're not there. But fucking Taurus is the earth sign with two fucking swords, and lest they see red, they're chilling. But try me. Try and move me. This is my fucking truth. And I want what I want. And what I want is the truth, and the truth is comfortable. The truth is good living. And then the bottom of the deck is the Justice card. And in response to the inquiry of the challenges. And what we've kind of unpacked so far. Can we fight for justice? Can we accept justice? Can we accept just? Can we merge with the ether, the beyond, and still stay here? Because, like, you see the kind of like the tapestry behind the angel king, queen, princess, prince. Like the red, like that could. It's almost like the royal robe is red, but really this is behind the person. Right? And so it's just like it's hanging from the wall, and then it comes down and it's draped over them too. So it's like the Ten of Swords energy of like merging with the ether, and then the king energy, and then the balancing energy is what it's bringing to the table. Because like, can you do all this and fucking and walk and have one foot in, one foot out? Can you meditate? Can you stay here and keep going? All right. Last inquiry. Outcome. Cut it a couple times. Just like outcome-ish of the energy at the beginning of 2019. Okay. Raise your hand if you're surprised. Keep your fucking hands down. Tower. Boom. Strength. Boom. Oh. And that's 888. 888. Strength. 16. 2 8s. 1 and 6 is 7. I know how to add, but you know what I mean. 8 plus 8 is 16, and I just noticed that. That's what came out, stood out to me. Oh, 8 of Cups. In case you thought I was cheating. In case you thought like we didn't have enough fucking 8s. And the Devil. One more card. Page of Cups. And the bottom of the deck is the Ten of Cups. And then as I like picked it up, it kind of lifted, like it wanted to reveal. And so underneath that is the Knight of Cups. So I'm going to recognize that. This seems pretty fucking awesome, but I'm biased towards awesome. The outcome is yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Like it, I like I said, I read things quite differently. And for me, what's standing out with this is like a regime shift, like a shift in power, a great change in power and ability. Like, I want you to take a second and just like think about your face when you're riding a roller coaster. Does it look like this? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it doesn't need to be, oh my fucking god, unless everything you see is, oh my fucking god. But like, this speaks to me of power, achieving power, receiving power, new forms of power. Like, you'd think that it looks like the lightning bolt zapped the top of the tower and blew this crown off, right? But what I'm seeing now, just thinking about it, is going back to kind of my first impression of the change of power was like, come back to your 3D vision. Buddy here has the crown on. Buddy here doesn't have the crown on. Where's that buddy's crown? Crown's over here. And what's happening is you're sitting in the theater being like, yeah, that's so sick. And the crown is, it's flying towards you. The crown is flying towards you. There's a regime change. And we're not just coming into our power, we're building our power, we're taking our power. And we're powerful. Yeah. Because there's balance. The red and the blue and the red. The strength card speaks to me of a return to the outcome being a return to the respect for balance, the balance of not just nature, but our nature and the truth thereof. There's strength in what we truly are. There's strength in who we truly are. And so we don't even need to build things that make us stronger. We don't need to eat things that make us stronger. We need to, we are strong. Way stronger than we think we are and need help to be. And there's a return to this stripping away, like you could probably just like, I feel like if you just like undid a couple knots behind her flowing gown and just like drop all like, that's why the lines are like, yeah, I don't know, I'm being crass, but just flowing, coming back to the flow. And our natural energy systems. Yeah. The Eight of Cups for me is about, in this reading, the outcome is about seeing things more clearly, because this is one of the few cards. Look at it, like the moon and the sun, or whatever the fuck this fucking light is. Like, there's depth to it. There's whatever that is, and then whatever this is. Or at least I see depth in it. And then if we add that, it's almost like Buddy's walking into a portal. Into a cove, into a cave, into darkness. But they're not looking back. They're not leaving the cups behind. The cups are symbolic. Okay? 8 is a power number. 8's numerically, 8 represents power. The essence of power. And it's, again, it speaks like it's the power of asymmetric fractality. It's like 3 cups with 2 on top, kind of in those between stability, and then 2 cups with the 1 on top. Like there's a pattern here of progression. Like there's on the bottom with the 5 cups, it seems like a balanced array, but the top, it's not a balanced array. It's because it's not done. The pattern is not complete. You keep going. Because once, we put another cup there on top, and then the bottom of the cup, the bottom cups, I guess, the bottom. Actually, you put another cup on the bottom, you put another cup on top, and then you've got a symmetric shape. You've got 4 on the top, 6 on the bottom. And that's completion. Or 10. Moving into the unknown, the darkness, towards completion. I fucking love the devil card too. I love anything that people think is scary. Because I'm not scared of shit. Not out of stupidity, I've just faced a lot of demons. And there's so much to unpack here that I'm going to leave for another day. But I'm going to offer something. The general read, we got the Lovers. And the outcome, we got the Devil. If I was a simple person, or rather a shallow perceiver, I would think the Lovers was going to turn into the Devil, and then that's just bad news bears. But 6 plus 6 is 12, not 15. 1 and 5 is 6. But V in 1 is 1 and 6. Is 1 and 5. This is 10 and 5. It's like another level. Standing before the grapes, the vines, and the burning bush, standing beside, and now they're within. Hands outstretched, connected by the ether, now connected by agreement. Because those look like collars or necklaces, right? Like, you could probably take each of those loops right the fuck off their heads. like easily. This speaks to me about evolution. And I mean, and look, one, the feminine is looking up, like, wow. The masculine is just like looking forward, like, you know. And they're both outstretched towards each other, but they're not even seeing that. They're not even seeing that they're outstretched towards each other. Whereas here, the feminine is looking forward. And the masculine isn't looking towards her, but looking like directly at what's between them. Like looking at what's in his hand, and it only appears like there's nothing in his hand. But it's the devil card, baby. Appearances can be deceiving. Yeah, there's a lot there. But this speaks to me about integration. This speaks to me of taking it to the next level. This speaks to me about the outcome is badassery. For show. And magic. The magic of and magic is chaos. Magic is order and is cosmos and kratos. Like, it's the devil is having lived, man. And then the Page of Cups. This speaks to me not so much of, like, sometimes for me, this is Pisces, and to me this speaks more of like, first of all, it speaks to me of the time period. So kind of mid-February to mid-March seems to be this, like, that it just is going to be something very like that's significant. And it speaks to me more of reflection. So like maybe around this time it's going to be like, and it's like looking back at what you've got in your hand, and be like, hey, look what I got, huh? You know. And the fish is talking backwards. It's like again one of the few cup cards with something in the cup, and they seem pleased about it. So this speaks to me of like the unison of reflection and acquiring, and the cups, and the smile. I want to say there's a contentment, and I might even go so far as to say love. So, and you know what? Fuck it. I will go that far. Because of the Lovers card, the Devil card, but also the bottom of the deck, which was the Ten of Cups, and being underneath that, being like, yeah, in case you didn't get it, I'm bringing the love. For me, the Knights don't represent the zodiac at all. they can represent different things for me, but mostly they speak of action and movement, moving towards, and in a kind of more than any other cards, they speak to me about movement towards and the manner, the energy with which they move towards. If you notice, all the horses, they're all moving quite differently. Pentacles, that horse doesn't look like he's fucking moving at all. He's like, that's as steady as she goes. The Knight of Wands is like basically jumping over something, you know. The Knight of Swords is fucking galloping towards, and the Knight of Cups is doing that, like, I don't know, like prancing thing that show horses do. It's almost like, hey, like not rushing, but not just walking either. It's like, I'm here, I'm putting my best foot forward, you know. And so I think good things are coming. I think love is coming. And the kind of love that makes you smile when you go to bed at night. Like, I see passion, but I see passion more in regards and connected to purpose and like life path and will, and like doing your fucking living thing, you know. And there's tons of passion and like, you know, like that energy of like a fight and fright, you know. But when it comes to love, it's more like a bath. I am a shower man, and that's why I say it's like a jacuzzi. It's almost like there's a calmness, a sense of achievement, but without fanfare. Just deserving. In due time, and that due time arriving. Yeah. And then I'm not going to say anything to it, but underneath the Knight of Cups is the Star card. And I'll let you read for that. Okay. That was your reading. So that was the reading for the beginning of 2019. I'm going to do another reading for 2019 in all. And then I'm going to start reading. I'm going to start doing some readings more often. I don't know if daily, but at least a weekly read. So that should be good. And yeah. Thanks for being so awesome. Not just for watching, but this is your energy that I'm picking up. It's ours. So that was pretty awesome. So thanks for being awesome. Thank you for interpreting and making everything that I say make sense to you. Make it make sense to you. Discover. It's like, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Never say that doesn't apply to me. It doesn't matter if it's your sign. It doesn't matter if like your sex, if you're male, if female. Oh, like the most wise thing you can do for everything is make everything apply to you, and see if there's something to be gleaned or gained or let go of. because then you create your own degree to which you're like, that matters, so I'm going to do this about it. That matters, this matters less, so I'm not going to do anything about it. Like, then you become one with your environment, and it's a path of integration and frequency modulation. Because there's an ascension or a rising of frequency, but there's also a descension of different frequencies too, and it's about phase harmony. It's about harmonization. So, anyways, thank you very much for being you and for joining. Subscribing is cool, but I don't really give a shit. I don't give a shit about likes. I don't give a shit about subscribers. I don't care if any of these videos become very popular, because I'm confident that they're going to get that the person that can get something important from them is going to see it. But what I will offer, because we all need to do this more, is if you liked this or something from it, talk to somebody about it. Be like, I saw this and like that, and just connect to another person about it. If you think I'm funny, I appreciate it. But what I really mean is, like, if you think I'm like you're down, you had a good time with me, I don't like subscribe, sure, but subscribe because it's convenient, right? Like, I have a bunch of things I subscribe to because it just makes finding the thing easier on the fucking app, right? So, sure, but I'm much more into like share it with someone specifically. Talk to someone about it specifically. I think you're awesome. And trust me when I mean that I'm talking to you, about you. I love you. You're a wonderful human being. You're a wonderful soul. And no matter where you are in your path in it, we're one. And if I'm one with you, then I must be pretty awesome too. Okay. See you again soon. I love you. Namaste.